What's up, guys? This is Taylor making another video on my journey to getting my first rental property. If you haven't seen these videos before, a little bit about myself is that I'm 19 years old. I'm in the Denver market, and I'm currently under contract with my first single-family rent-by-room property. And so in this video, I'm going to be explaining what should you have and what should you do before you actually start looking for a house to purchase. And so there's definitely a lot that goes into play before you're actually ready to actually go out and buy your first house. So for me, it took me an entire full year to get everything ready to buy my first house. 1 year ago was when I figured out that, 1 year from now, I want to buy my first property, and I did everything to get everything ready, and it took a full year, but here we are. So the first thing to starting it out is to figure out exactly what type of property and what type of investment are you doing. Are you house hacking? And if you are house hacking, are you renting it by the room or getting a multifamily property? And then figure out exactly your area that you're going to be investing in. And then another important thing is to figure out how much is it going to actually cost you. Start running numbers, figuring out how much are you going to have to come up with as a down payment and all the other upfront costs. So I think that's crucial to, before anything, just figuring out what type of investment do you want, where do you want it, and how much is going to be around the purchase price. And then from that point, as I would find an investor-friendly agent in that area that you plan on buying. So like for me, I'm in Denver, so I reached out to the FI team with like Craig Curlop and all of those guys. Those guys have been tremendously awesome. And so one of my biggest tips is to make sure you find a solid rock star agent, because they are going to be one of the most important members of your team. And so finding an actual agent shouldn't be too hard. They're everywhere in every state, pretty saturated, but they're on bigger pockets. They're just even typing like realtors near me, Facebook groups. Finding an actual agent won't be hard, but finding a good one might be a little bit harder. If you are in the Denver market, 100% reach out to the FI team. They'll take good care of you. And then the thing after that is you should budget exactly how much is this all going to cost you, and how comfortable are you going to be with reserves? What's your risk tolerance here? And so your upfront costs are going to consist of your down payment, closing costs, furniture, rehab, and vacancy if applicable. And so your down payment and closing costs are gonna likely be your biggest costs, unless if it's a big rehab. Like for my property, my total rehab cost shouldn't be over $2,000, which is pretty low for a rehab. And so calculating these costs isn't very difficult. There's calculators like on the internet that you can put in, figure out like what type of down payment are you doing, and see how much all of this is going to cost you. And for furniture, we're on a very good budget because we've gotten very good deals, but budget a few thousand for furniture. Depends on how much you're furnishing and if you need a refrigerator and all that. And then so personally, I think it's pretty safe to have at least $10,000 after all expenses, purely in reserves. And for me, I'm actually not following that because I didn't want to wait for extra reserves, and it's just on my risk tolerance. But the most safe way would be to likely go with at least $10,000 for your first property. But it all really comes down to you and how much are all of these costs going to come up to. And so back to that is finding people to raise money from. So if you don't want to spend extra time saving up money, reaching out to family members, friends, co-workers, people in the bigger pockets, even just everyone you could possibly know, and just see who can exactly borrow you money and how much. If things were to go bad, you really want to make sure that you do have people that can fund you money. And that's why I didn't wait until I had the $10,000 in reserves, is because I had a few people that I could lie back on if things were to not go as planned. So that's also crucial, is to make sure you have as many people as you can, because the more the better, honestly. And then just making sure you're just ready. Is the timing right for you? It depends on what you got going on in your life. When you do start house hunting and you do get under contract, you're gonna want to make sure everything goes good. And it's a likely going to be an investment that's hundreds of thousands of dollars, and it shouldn't be taken lightly. And so just making sure you're mentally ready, and making sure you're knowledgeable enough, and make sure you have a very knowledgeable agent if you aren't knowledgeable enough. And then the final thing I would say is getting pre-approved. So once you actually do get a pre-approved, that's when you are ready to start looking for houses, because you are approved for the financing. And so getting approved, might be a tricky part. I do have a video on how to obtain financing. And so that's going to be pretty much the most important things on what to do before house hunting. It's obviously very important to make sure that you know enough about the actual investment and just investing in real estate in general, because it's not a game to be taken lightly, because it's hundreds of thousands of dollars in just one investment. So that's my video for you guys, and I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out.